I thought I had built an unshakable foundation for my family. 10 years of marriage to Amanda, a beautiful home in the suburbs, and our incredible daughter Lily, who made every sacrifice worthwhile. Then one Tuesday afternoon it all crumbled when I discovered Amanda had cleaned out our bank accounts and Lily's college fund before disappearing with her personal trainer. My world collapsed until 3 days later when my 15-year-old daughter approached me with a folder and 6 words that changed everything. "Dad, I took care of the money." Let me know where you're watching from in the comments. If this story about family betrayal and a daughter's brilliant foresight sounds interesting, please hit like and subscribe before we dive into one of the most shocking experiences of my life. Growing up in a middle-class neighborhood in Portland, I watched my parents struggle with finances my entire childhood. My father worked 2 jobs while my mother managed a small daycare from our home. They taught me the value of hard work, but also the stress that financial instability brings to a family. I promised myself I'd create something different for my own children someday. I worked multiple jobs through college, graduated with honors in finance, and built a career as a financial advisor. By 30, I had established a solid reputation, helping families secure their futures. The irony that I failed to protect my own family's finances still stings, but I'm getting ahead of myself. I met Amanda during my 2nd year of graduate school. She was studying art history with dreams of becoming a curator at a prestigious gallery. Her creative spirit and passionate approach to life captivated me immediately. Where I was practical and methodical, she was spontaneous and expressive. Her auburn hair caught the sunlight in ways that made me forget whatever I was saying mid-sentence. When she laughed, everyone around her couldn't help but smile. Our whirlwind romance progressed quickly. Within 6 months, we were inseparable, and after a year, I proposed during a weekend trip to the coast. Amanda cried happy tears, threw her arms around my neck, and our future together seemed perfect and certain. We married in a small ceremony, with close friends and family. Amanda changed career directions 3 times in our first 2 years together. First pursuing gallery work, then graphic design, finally opening a small art supply shop that struggled to break even. I supported each venture emotionally and financially, believing in her talents and determination. When she decided to close the shop, I comforted her and assured her she'd find her path. When Lily was born 8 years into our marriage, my heart expanded in ways I never thought possible. This tiny human with Amanda's auburn hair and my green eyes became the center of my universe. Amanda struggled with motherhood, initially experiencing postpartum depression that made the first year especially challenging. I took on extra parenting responsibilities, waking for midnight feedings, and becoming expert at diaper changes between client meetings. As Lily grew, I noticed she inherited my head for numbers and planning. By age 7, she maintained a careful allowance system, separating her money into spending, saving, and charity jars, without prompting. I began teaching her about compound interest and basic investing concepts, which she absorbed with remarkable understanding. When my grandmother passed away 5 years ago, she left me a substantial inheritance. After careful consideration, Amanda and I decided to establish a trust fund for Lily's education. I set up the account with clear terms about college expenses and future security. Amanda showed little interest in the financial details, leaving the management entirely to me. "You handle all that boring money stuff, Julian," she would say, with a dismissive wave. "Just make sure there's enough for Lily's college and our retirement." I took pride in providing the financial security I never had growing up. Our suburban home, with the red front door, family vacations to national parks, and Lily's trust fund, represented everything I had worked toward. I believed Amanda and I were partners building a legacy of love and stability for our daughter. Looking back, the warning signs were there, flashing like exit signs I sped past without a glance. Around Lily's 13th birthday, Amanda began expressing restlessness with our life. She complained about the monotony of suburban existence and started obsessing over her appearance. Suddenly, our comfortable home was boring, our neighborhood friends basic, and our routine family dinners stifling. Amanda joined an exclusive fitness center across town, replacing her casual wardrobe with expensive athletic wear. Her previously modest makeup routine expanded to include cosmetic procedures she insisted were what everyone does now. Her spending habits changed dramatically, with unexplained charges for restaurants I'd never visited and stores we'd never shopped at together. Her girls' nights increased from monthly to weekly, often extending to the early morning hours. When I expressed concern, she accused me of being controlling. Her phone became an extension of her hand guarded closely, always facing down when not in use. Texts would arrive that made her smile in ways I hadn't seen directed at me in months. I worked longer hours to maintain our increasingly expensive lifestyle, focusing on building security for Lily's future. The emotional distance between Amanda and me expanded until we were essentially roommates sharing a home and parenting responsibilities. I suggested date nights, which she frequently canceled last minute. When I mentioned marriage counseling, she scoffed, saying our issues were just normal midlife adjustments. In a last attempt to reconnect, I surprised her by joining her gym for a session with her personal trainer. That's when I met Ryan, a 30-year-old former college athlete with perfect teeth and carefully cultivated stubble. The uncomfortable electricity between them was palpable, but I dismissed my suspicions as paranoia. After all, we had 15 years of history and a daughter we both adored. The last normal day before everything imploded was a Sunday in April. Amanda suggested we have breakfast together at our favorite local cafe, something she hadn't initiated in months. She was attentive, laughing at my jokes and suggesting we take family photos for memories. That afternoon, she asked about our financial accounts out of curiosity and seemed especially interested in Lily's trust fund. Just wondering how much we've saved for her college, she explained when I asked about her sudden interest. That night, she told me she loved me before falling asleep. It was the first time she'd said those words unprompted in nearly a year. 2 days later, everything changed forever. I returned early from a business trip to Seattle, hoping to surprise Amanda with dinner reservations at the restaurant where we'd celebrated our 10th anniversary. The house felt wrong the moment I opened the door. Too quiet, too still, with a subtle absence I couldn't immediately identify. Calling out for Amanda and receiving no response, I walked through each room noticing small things missing. Her favorite jacket no longer hung in the entryway closet. The bathroom counter lacked her extensive array of cosmetics. The framed photo of her parents was gone from the bedroom dresser. My heart pounded as I opened her closet door to find half the contents missing. Not random items, but carefully selected pieces, as if she had packed for an extended trip. On her pillow lay a single sheet of paper with 2 sentences in her flowing handwriting. I need a fresh start. Don't try to find me. My legs gave out as I sat heavily on our bed, the note trembling in my hand. 15 years reduced to 14 cold words. No explanation, no apology. Nothing about Lily or our life together. Financial instinct took over as I grabbed my laptop with shaking hands. Our joint checking account, which should have contained nearly $20,000 for the mortgage and Lily's summer programs, showed a balance of $83.17. Our savings account was completely empty, the withdrawal process that morning. With growing horror, I checked Lily's trust fund, which had contained $175,000 for her college education. The balance now showed $30,000 with a withdrawal of $145,000 pending from earlier that day. I called Amanda repeatedly, each unanswered ring increasing my panic. Texts went unread, voice messages unreturned. I called her friends, most of whom seemed genuinely shocked and claimed no knowledge of her plans. I even called her parents, who expressed concern but said they hadn't heard from her in several days. The room spun around me as I struggled to breathe. The magnitude of her betrayal was incomprehensible. Not just abandoning our marriage, but stealing our daughter's future, taking money I had carefully saved since Lily's birth. I experienced my first panic attack, sitting there in our bedroom, hyperventilating until spots appeared in my vision. How would I tell Lily her mother had left? How could I explain that the college fund I had promised her was nearly gone? What kind of father fails to protect his child's future? What kind of husband doesn't see this coming? For 3 hours, I moved through our house like a ghost, unable to eat or think clearly. I had to pull myself together before Lily returned from school. She deserved better than to find both parents gone, one physically and one emotionally. When Lily walked through the door that afternoon, I was sitting in the living room, rehearsed words disappearing the moment I saw her face. At 15, she looked so much like Amanda, it sometimes startled me. But her expressions, her mannerisms, and her analytical mind were reflections of me. "Dad, why are you home early? Where's Mom?" Her backpack dropped to the floor as she registered my expression. "Sit down, Lily. I need to tell you something difficult." My voice cracked despite my best efforts. I explained as gently as possible that her mother had left us. I held her while she cried, her body shaking against mine. When her tears subsided, I took a deep breath and told her the rest. There's something else, honey. Mom took most of our savings. I paused the next words, nearly impossible to say. She also took most of your college fund. Lily pulled back her tear-stained face, transitioning from shock to something harder, more adult than any expression I'd ever seen on her young face. How much, she asked, her voice steady. About $145,000 from your trust fund. I'm so sorry, Lily. I promise I'll figure something out. I'll work extra hours, take on more clients. We might need to move to a smaller place, but I swear I'll replace every penny before you need it for college. Lily's response shocked me. Instead of more tears or accusations, she hugged me tightly and said, "We'll be okay, Dad. It's not your fault." Over the next few days, we pieced together Amanda's deception. Neighbors mentioned seeing a moving truck when I was at work the previous week. One of Amanda's friends finally admitted knowing about an affair with Ryan, her personal trainer, that had been going on for at least 6 months. I discovered hidden credit card debt Amanda had accumulated, along with hotel receipts showing weekend stays in nearby cities, when she had claimed to be visiting her sister. The betrayal had been calculated and methodical, planned over months, while she continued to kiss me goodbye each morning and attend Lily's school events. The police took a report about the missing trust fund money, but warned me recovery would be difficult if Amanda claimed it was a marital asset. My divorce attorney explained that, while taking the trust fund was morally reprehensible, the legal battle to recover it could be lengthy and expensive. Each night after Lily went to bed, I sat alone, wondering how I had missed the signs. The woman I thought I knew better than anyone had been plotting her escape for months, systematically dismantling our life together. The humiliation was almost as painful as the betrayal. Through it all, Lily showed remarkable resilience. While I struggled to sleep and eat, she maintained her school routine and even took over cooking dinner several nights when I was too overwhelmed. She asked thoughtful questions about our financial situation and helped brainstorm ways to economize. "We don't need cable TV anyway," she said practically. "Everything's streaming now." I noticed Lily spending more time than usual on her computer in the evenings. When I asked about it, she said she was researching colleges with good scholarship programs. I assumed it was her way of processing the reality of her diminished college fund. When she received phone calls, she would take them privately, which seemed out of character, but understandable given the emotional turmoil we were experiencing. 3 days after Amanda left, I was reviewing our remaining finances at the kitchen table, calculating how long we could keep the house before being forced to sell. Lily sat down across from me, sliding a manila folder across the table. Her expression was serious, but there was something else there too. A confidence I hadn't seen before. "Don't worry, Dad. I took care of everything," she said quietly. I assumed she was trying to comfort me, perhaps with a budget plan or list of scholarship options. I opened the folder expecting childish but well-intentioned financial planning. Instead, I found printouts of financial transactions and account statements. It took several moments for the information to register. The documents showed a secondary account under Lily's trust fund, established 6 weeks earlier with me listed as co-trustee. The balance $145,000. "I don't understand," I said, looking between the papers and my daughter's face. Lily took a deep breath. "Remember when you taught me about protecting assets and recognizing financial red flags? I noticed Mom checking the trust fund account on your computer when you were in the shower about 2 months ago. She never showed interest in that stuff before." My mouth opened, but no words emerged. Then I saw small test withdrawals. $500 here, $1,000 there. Just small enough that you might not notice with everything else going on. So I set up transaction alerts on my phone. You did what I finally managed. I've had access to view the account since I turned 15. Remember, you set it up so I could learn about investing. When I saw Mom was clearly planning something, I went to the bank and asked about protection options. My brilliant, incredible daughter had gone to our local bank branch, spoken with a financial advisor, and created a secondary account under the trust with me, as the only adult with access. As soon as she noticed unusual activity accelerating, she had transferred $145,000 into the protected account, leaving $30,000 in the original account. "I left some money as bait," she explained, using financial terms I had taught her years earlier. "I figured if Mom was just borrowing some for an emergency, she'd take a small amount. If she was planning something else, Lily's voice trailed off. My emotions collided violently. Pride in my daughter's intelligence and foresight. Shock at her level of financial understanding. Concern about the legality of what she had done. Relief that her future wasn't compromised after all. And underneath it all, a crushing guilt that my 15-year-old had to take such adult action to protect herself from her own mother. "Why didn't you tell me what you suspected?" I asked gently. Lily's eyes welled with tears for the first time since that first afternoon. "I wasn't sure I was right. I hoped I was wrong. And you seemed so stressed already with work and Mom being distant. I didn't want to add to that unless I was certain." We sat in silence for several minutes, the magnitude of what had happened settling between us. Finally, I asked, "Does your mother know about this second account?" Lily shook her head. "The transaction wouldn't have shown up until she tried to withdraw the money. That probably happened today." I called our attorney immediately, who confirmed that since I was a co-trustee on the new account, and the transfer had happened before any divorce proceedings, the money was legally protected. He advised documenting everything, and waiting to see how Amanda would respond when she discovered what Lily had done. We didn't have to wait long. For 2 days we existed in a strange calm, making plans for our future and discussing practical matters like whether to sell the house. The betrayal still hurt deeply, but knowing Lily's education was secure lifted an enormous weight. Then the calls started. First hang-ups on our home phone, then messages from Amanda's sister asking strange questions about our finances. Lily showed me social media posts from a mutual friend that included Amanda and Ryan in the background at an expensive resort in California. "She's spending the money she did get," Lily observed. "Probably thinks she has plenty more to access later." On the morning of the third day, exactly as Lily predicted, Amanda called. I put the phone on speaker so Lily could hear after starting a recording app as my attorney had advised. "What the hell did you do, Julian?" Amanda screamed, her voice shrill and panicked. "Where's the rest of the money?" I remained calm. "Hello, Amanda. I assume you're calling about Lily's trust fund. Don't play games with me, the transfer is blocked. I need that money now. Ryan and I have plans." That money was always for Lily's education, not for you and your trainer to start a new life together. Her tone changed from angry to threatening. "I'll sue you for every penny. I'll tell the courts you were abusive. I'll make sure you never see Lily again." Lily's face hardened at these words, but she remained silent as we had agreed. "Amanda," I said evenly, "you abandoned our daughter and attempted to steal her college fund. You committed financial fraud and possibly several other crimes. I have documented everything." There was a long pause before Amanda's voice returned suddenly softer. "Julian, please. I made a mistake. Ryan says we need that money for our business venture. Once it succeeds, I'll pay it all back with interest. I promise. You should talk to a lawyer, Amanda. Taking the trust fund was illegal." Another long pause. Then in a voice I barely recognized, she said, "Ryan left this morning. When I told him there was a problem with the money, he packed his bags and disappeared. Please, Julian, I have nothing now. Despite everything, a part of me ached for the woman I had loved for 15 years. But then I looked at Lily, who shook her head slightly, her eyes clear and resolved. "I'm sorry to hear that, Amanda. I truly am. But this isn't about you and me anymore. It's about Lily's future, which you were willing to sacrifice." "Put Lily on the phone," Amanda demanded, her tone hardening again. "I need to talk to my daughter." I looked at Lily, who nodded, and took the phone. "Hi, Mom," she said, her voice steady. "Lily, sweetheart, I need you to explain to your father that I deserve half of that money. We can work something out for your college later." Lily took a deep breath. "Actually, Mom, I was the one who protected the trust fund. I saw what you were doing and created a second account weeks ago." The silence that followed was deafening. "You," what Amanda finally whispered. "I learned about financial security from Dad. I saw the test withdrawals and knew something was wrong. The money is safe now. You tricked me." "Your own mother," Amanda's voice cracked between anger and disbelief. "No, Mom. You tried to trick me. You were stealing my future." Amanda began sobbing, then screaming accusations and pleas mixing together incoherently before the line went dead. Lily set the phone down, her hands trembling slightly. Then she looked up at me with eyes that seemed years older than they had been just days ago. "She's not the person we thought she was, Dad." In that moment, I realized my daughter had become my strength exactly when I needed it most. The divorce proceedings moved surprisingly quickly given Amanda's clear abandonment and the recorded admission of her attempted theft. When she showed up intoxicated at our house one evening, making threats and demands, the judge granted a restraining order that same week. We sold the family home 6 months later, finding a smaller, cozier house in a nearby neighborhood. The change felt right somehow, a fresh start in a space that didn't echo with memories of betrayal. Lily's trust fund remained secure, growing steadily with careful management. I added monthly deposits from my salary determined to rebuild what had been temporarily compromised. The emotional rebuilding took longer than the financial recovery. Lily and I both attended therapy, learning to process our feelings of abandonment and betrayal. She showed remarkable emotional intelligence throughout the process, but our therapist helped ensure she had appropriate outlets for the anger and grief that sometimes emerged. "It's okay to be furious with your mom," I told her during a particularly difficult week. "And it's also okay to miss who you thought she was." 1 year after Amanda left, Lily suggested we celebrate what she called our freedom anniversary. We made homemade pizza, watched comedies, and talked about how far we'd come. When I asked if she regretted her actions or wished things had turned out differently, she considered the question seriously. "I wish Mom had been the person we thought she was," she finally answered. "But I don't regret protecting my future. And honestly, Dad, we're better off now. You smile more. We talk more openly. Our house feels peaceful." I realized she was right. The constant tension of my failing marriage had lifted. Without trying to please someone who couldn't be satisfied, I had found more energy for both my work and my relationship with Lily. I had even started dating casually, with Lily's careful approval of anyone who became remotely serious. We heard through mutual connections that Amanda and Ryan had broken up within weeks of her leaving. She had eventually moved back to her hometown across the country, finding work at a local gallery. She occasionally sent Lily cards on holidays and her birthday, which Lily accepted with complicated emotions, but no desire to re-establish close contact. Maybe someday, she would say when I asked if she wanted to visit her mother, but not until she shows real change. The most valuable lesson from our ordeal wasn't about money or even betrayal. It was about resilience and the discovery that sometimes losing what you thought you wanted opens the door to what you truly need. Amanda's departure, painful as it was, freed us both from a relationship built on illusion. I learned to trust my own judgment again, to recognize the strength in vulnerability, and to appreciate the unexpected support that emerged from friends and community when I finally shared our situation honestly. Lily learned that her voice and intuition mattered, while also navigating the complex emotions of premature responsibility and the ordinary challenges of teenage life. Together we discovered that true family is defined by loyalty and character, not just blood or legal ties. Crisis revealed our priorities and values in ways comfortable circumstances never could. And perhaps most importantly, we learned that financial problems can be solved with time and discipline, but character flaws are far more permanent and destructive. The trust fund that Amanda tried to steal has become a symbol of something much more valuable than money. It represents Lily's wisdom beyond her years, her instinct for self-protection, and the unbreakable bond between a father and daughter who weathered a storm together and emerged stronger. Today, I measure wealth differently. I'm rich in gratitude for what remains, rather than bitter about what was lost. I'm wealthy in authentic relationships built on genuine trust. And I'm abundantly blessed by a daughter whose intelligence and insight continue to amaze me every day. Have you ever experienced a moment when a child showed wisdom beyond their years? Please share your story in the comments below. If this tale of resilience and rebuilding resonated with you, please hit the like button and subscribe to hear more stories of overcoming life's unexpected challenges. And if you know someone facing difficult times who needs a reminder that better days are ahead, please share this video with them. Thank you for listening. And remember that sometimes what feels like an ending is actually the beginning of something better. Wishing strength and peace to all of you facing your own storms today.